And it may sound shocking, but this has literally happened to me more than once. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we're gonna be talking all about how to prepare for big law interviews. So I hope this video is timely for those of you preparing for OCI, upcoming on-campus interviews, or those of you who are just about to start your 1L year and you know that big law is the goal and you want to get a jump start like I did, okay? So I'm gonna be covering some different things, steps that you should be taking to make sure that you are prepared to ace your interviews, okay? So without further ado, let's just jump right in. Okay, so first and foremost, you are always going to want to research your interviewers. So if your firm that you are interviewing with sends you who you are going to be interviewing with, you should research them, okay? And when I say research them, I mean research them. Go onto your firm's website, go onto the firm you are interviewing with, go to their website and look up the names of the people who you are going to interview. A couple of things you want to know. What associate class are they, or if they are a partner, right? So first year, second year, third year, fourth, whatever, or if they're a partner, you're going to want to know that. You're going to also want to know their practice group. So what area are they practicing in? Another thing that I don't think you necessarily have to know, but I like to know, was what school they went to. Because if you're interviewing with alum, then they're rooting for you, right? They want you to come to their school. They always want more of their alum to be represented at the firm. So that was also always helpful to know. And then the other thing that I would research is if they specifically, or if the firm worked on any notable cases. So I always noticed that my interviewers really liked when I asked them about something that I saw that they had worked on recently, or something that was pretty big. And it shouldn't be hard to find. Like when you go on their page, like the firm's page and the associate or partners page, it will talk about some notable cases they have done. It will talk about some notable things that they have done at the firm. And it might sound like that gets into the realm of like sucking up, but guess what? In any interview you are doing in life in general, not just in big law, not just in the legal field, if the interviewer likes you, you have a higher chance of getting the job. And so, yeah, it may sound like you're sucking up, but really it's just you're well prepared for the interview and you're asking them about a notable piece of work that they worked on and they're going to like you for it. And you want that, right? And it also, again, just shows that you've done your research and that you're prepared. So that's definitely something I recommend doing. And another thing that I guess you can also consider doing is going on their LinkedIn. I did do this in most cases just to see like where they worked before. And I'll tell you what that's helpful for in a second, but I would look at like where they worked before, where they went to undergrad, again, seeing if there was a connection, just finding points of connection, because if you can connect with them, then again, you're more likely to get the job. So the other reason that going on their LinkedIn was helpful, it's because I always, and this is number 2, how to prepare. You should always have questions prepared for your interviewers. And I'll tell you a story about that in a second, but going on their LinkedIn, like if I notice, for example, that they switched firms, then that would give me something to ask them. But like, hey, I noticed you were at XYZ firm before for 3 years and now you're here. What was the difference between the two firms? What do you like about this firm? Why did you leave? You know, it will give me an opportunity to come up with helpful and insightful questions to ask, especially questions that are going to benefit me, right? Because if you're interviewing at this firm, they are interviewing you, but you are also interviewing them. You want to know if this is a firm that you can see yourself at long term, or even short term if that's your goal. But ultimately, having these insightful questions and not just questions that you don't really care about the answers to are going to help inform your own decision-making process. And I'll tell you the other reason you need to have questions. Other than helping you inform your decision-making process, and then of course also just showing the job that you are actually interested in the job because you're curious about what they do and you want to know how you're going to fit in there. But also, okay, and I mean heavily, because I literally had this experience, your interviewer may have 0 questions for you. Okay. And it may sound shocking, but this has literally happened to me more than once. So my 1L year, when I was interviewing at a big law firm, very notable big law firm, one of my interviewers, so I think the only question that they had asked me was something along the lines of like, how am I liking law school? I was a 1L in law school with my spring semester when I was interviewing. Actually, it was before spring semester started, or maybe it had just started because it was in January. But and that was the only question. And then they were just quiet. And it was a partner. It was a partner at the firm. And then Like, you're not just about to sit there in dead silence for 30 minutes, right? And so guess what? I had to start asking questions. And it's a good thing I had questions prepared, but I had only prepared, I think, maybe 4 questions. And I usually recommend to my clients anywhere from 3 to 5, but I probably only prepared 4. But because they only asked me 1 question, I was definitely coming up with questions on the spot. I was definitely coming up with questions on the spot. I'm not going to say that this is a normal thing. Like I said, it has happened to me twice, but I did interview at a ton of firms, ton of big law firms. Essentially, my questions, they were natural outcomes of what the partner was telling me, right? And so I would have a question and they would answer it, and I would follow up their answer with a question based on their answer. Again, so active listening, right? But anyway, so just again, you just want to be prepared for all circumstances, for all, like, no matter what can happen. And so having those questions, obviously all of my interviews, including that one, went well because I got the job offer. And actually that partner ended up being, somewhat of a mentor to me. So ironically, right? But anyway, so definitely research your interviewer. 1, definitely make sure you prepare questions too. The third thing that you need to do to prepare for your big law interviews is have an idea of the practice area you would like to practice in, and know if your firm offers that practice area. I have heard horror stories of people coming and saying, well, hey firm, I'm interested in, what's a good example? I don't know. Hey firm, I'm interested in criminal litigation, or I'm interested in tax. And then the firm goes, oh, okay, like the interviewer who they're saying that to. And then they go, oh, okay, well, we don't do that at this firm. Embarrassing, right? Okay, you're not getting that job. So you need to make sure that you do your research. This goes into the first one, but it's not just research your interviewers, it's also research the firm itself. Okay, so I guess that's actually number 4. Number 3 is know the practice area you are interested in, so that when they ask, you can say, I'm interested in XYZ. And then number 4 is research the firm. Not only are you going to make sure the firm has that practice area, but you're also going to look at any notable things the firm has done. You're going to get some just basic information about the firm, so that if people are asking you questions, and you can answer them, right? And one of the most common questions you will probably get is, why this firm? And you have to have researched the firm to be able to answer that question. So again, just research the firm, make sure you're prepared, make sure you're not going to go in there and say you want to do something that the firm doesn't know, and know a little bit about what the firm does, and maybe even their most notable cases, which would usually be right on the firm's front home page. And so again, just simple things that you can be doing to make sure that you're prepared, and to show your interviewers that you are serious about them, and you're serious about the firm, and you really want to work there. The next thing that you want to do, well, actually, I think this is a good time to tell you guys, if you are a law school applicant and you want to get a free law school application timeline, if you are working full-time and you're applying to law school this year and you've got big law goals, then I've got that free timeline. It's going to be linked down below. If you're otherwise a non-traditional law school applicant, then you can also grab that guide down below. It's going to be down in the description box, and you can always sign up for law school coaching for both applicants and students at toppingthecurve.com. Again, all those links will be in the description box. Okay. Number 5 to prepare is do mock interviews. I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but I will. You need to do mock interviews. Hopefully your school offers mock interviews for you, like through your career services office. And if not, maybe an organization you're in offers mock interviews. And if not, then you need to go pay a coach or someone to do mock interviews for you, because you need to do mock interviews. I've done so many interviews of people. I've done a ton of mock interviews, and I've actually done interviews of people, and you would be shocked by how many people lose the job in the interview because they say something that raises a red flag, right? And so I just remember I was doing an interview, I won't say for what, but I was interviewing some candidates for something, and 2 of the candidates said something in their interview where I was immediately like, okay, no. And know that if you have the interview, for the most part, like 99% of the time, it means you're qualified for the job. And the interview is just to see if you, 1, fit the bill, so like you fit what's actually on your resume, but 2, also like that you fit in with the job, that we like you, that you're going to be like comfortable or fit into the firm culture or the clerkship culture or whatever it is, right? And so you need to do mock interviews to make sure that you are prepared, to make sure that your questions, your answers to the questions are strong, to make sure that you're not saying anything that could potentially raise a red flag. A lot of problems that I've seen when I do mock interviews, people tend to talk too much. So you don't want to have a 5-minute answer to a question that should take you 30 seconds to answer or a minute to answer, right? So little things like that doing mock interviews and getting feedback on your mock interviews will help you be more prepared as you're going in, as you're going into your big law interview cycle. Number 6 is have an elevator pitch. You're going to get asked, right? You're going to get asked, tell me about yourself. And you need to have an elevator pitch. Most people, when they answer, tell me about yourself, they start talking about, well, I grew up here. Well, this is my background. This is the school I went to. That's not how you want to approach it. Your elevator pitch is essentially why you should work at that firm, as told in a story of your background, right? And so you have to work on that elevator pitch. What I was taught and what I teach my clients is to kind of keep your elevator pitch around 60 to 90 seconds. And it should sum up who you are, your strongest qualities, and why that essentially makes you a good candidate for the job that you were interviewing for. You need to practice that elevator pitch, okay? You need to practice, rehearse, and make sure that elevator pitch is strong. That is a question you are almost surely to get throughout your big law interview process. So make sure you've got that elevator pitch. So to recap, always research your interviewers, okay? Make sure you know who you're interviewing with. And if they don't give you your interviewers ahead of time, like you don't find out until you get there, then it's fine. They know that you didn't have time to research. So I had one instance with a big law firm where I was interviewing at, and two of my interviewers just weren't available once I got there. And those were the interviewers, 2 of the 5. And those were 2 who I had researched. And I guess something came up or whatever. And so on the spot, the hiring partner just chose 2 other people for me to interview with. And she said, don't worry, I don't expect you to have done research on these people because I know I'm just springing them on you now, right? So if that's the case, then don't worry, it's fine. They wouldn't expect it. But if you have it in advance, then make sure you do your research. Number 2, know the practice area that you are interested in. Number 3, research the firm. Know notable cases, know the types of practice areas that they do, know about their practice groups, so on and so forth. I'm recounting this and I think I had added stuff in while I was talking, so now I'm all out of order. But anyway, do mock interviews, okay? Do mock interviews, and then maybe there was only 5 and not 6. I don't know, guys, sorry. But then finally, have an elevator pitch, okay? If you do all these things, then you are going to make sure that you are prepared. Oh, let me add, know your resume. Know your resume like the back of your hand, okay? You have to know your resume. If I ask you about something on your resume, so maybe this is number 6. If I ask you about something on your resume, I expect you to tell me about that thing that is on your resume. If you cannot tell me about that thing, what you did about that thing that is on your resume, then it shouldn't be on your resume. So you need to know your resume. Okay, guys, so if you do all of these things, then you will be prepared for your upcoming big law interview. I hope this video helps. Again, you can sign up for law school applicant or law school student coaching at the link in the description box, or just by going to toppingthecurve.com. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what other videos you would like to see. And I will see you guys on my next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.